friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. For today's video, I'm going to chat about palettes that I wanted to purchase this year, but for some reason or another, I did not end up purchasing. I do a video similar to this, usually every 8 to 12 months, where I talk about older eyeshadow palettes that I wanted but never got. And then I saw Angelica post a video earlier this month talking about specifically eyeshadow palettes from 2020 that she wanted but didn't get, and I want to steal that idea, so I'm going to be doing it as well. I will, of course, have Angelica's video down in the description box if you want to check hers out. I highly recommend it. Angelica is just wonderful. I adore her. I think I have 15 eyeshadow palettes to talk about, and I'm excited to talk about them, but before we get into it, I did film this look, of course. I film every look that you see on camera. This particular look is part of my 2 looks with the Van Gogh palette from Musée Beauty. It should already be up on my channel by the time this video goes up. My plugs are from Love Kills Boutique, my earrings are from Spooky Doodle Club on Etsy, and my necklace is from Ana Luisa. Anyways, with all that being said, let's just hop in and chat about the eyeshadow palettes from 2020 that I wanted but did not end up getting. Before we hop into them, I do want to just blanket statement preface that I didn't buy any of these palettes, mostly just because I was being very strict on my makeup spending this year. I had a lot of just like expenses overall. I was closed for 2 months because of the pandemic, so that part of the income was gone. My cat had really expensive vet bills for a really long time, actually. He's still really expensive, but thankfully not frequent vet visits anymore. We're saving for our home that's getting built early next year. There's just a lot of reasons why I did not have a big makeup budget. So overall, that's the reason I didn't buy any of these, but I did go into detail on how I was able to really talk myself out of these palettes as well. And in a perfect world, I would have loved to have all of these, but it's okay. We're not meant to have every palette, and I'm okay with that. I'm gonna scooch on over a little bit so that we can have room for pictures to get popped up on the screen. I will be looking at my phone a little bit while I talk because I have all the pictures saved. And I'm not gonna go in any particular order. It's probably gonna go from like recent to old to middle to recent. I just have a lot of different pictures saved. Let's go over Lethal Cosmetics first because I have 2 palettes to talk about. The first one is the After Dark palette. This came out in the summer. Oh my gosh, I wanted this so badly. I loved how bright and colorful it was, but it was also kind of muted and grungy. It was like neon grunge. Such a dream, especially for me. If you're new here, obviously I'm not super colorful today, but I switch between like colorful and grungy looks all the time. I am such a color fanatic, and I really like Lethal Shadows. I have 1 custom palette from them, and I wanted to try more from them. I got that last year as a gift, and I want to try more of them so bad, but it just hasn't worked out, and I wanted this palette so bad. I just think it's so pretty and colorful, but grungy. It's everything. I think it's so pretty. Ultimately, I talked myself out of this one just because it was summertime. I was only back at work for like a month, maybe a month and a half at this point, so I was still trying to get caught back up on bills and things like that, and I just told myself, you don't need another colorful palette. You've got lots of color. You have plenty of eyeshadow. It was sad. The next Lethal palette is a new one, actually. This just launched late November, but this is the Velvet Dusk palette. Wow, this is beautiful. This is also that colorful grunge kind of feel. It is absolutely stunning. I love the combination of those dark purples with that grungy brown, with that kind of turquoise shade, the bright green. It's all just so pretty. I love everything about this color story. I think I talked myself out of this one because on Black Friday I did buy 1 of the new Give Me Glow palettes, so I just told myself like, you get 1 palette, that's it, that's all you get. But this one is beautiful, and I'm gonna be fantasizing about this one for a while probably. This is an older one that I discovered earlier in the year. This is from the brand Poppy Cosmetics. I've never tried anything from them, but this is the Neon Drip palette. I love brights and I love neons, especially in the thick of the spring and summer. It's just so much fun. I loved the array of mattes and shimmers in here. I liked that we had such a variety of neons, from greens to pinks to purples, oranges, yellows. It's just all bright and fun. I think it's so cute. I actually heard pretty decent things about this palette as well. I mostly didn't get this one just because when I discovered it, it was in the thick of the pandemic. I certainly wasn't spending money on it, and then by the time I was caught up on money again and was able to maybe treat myself to something, this just wasn't really the forefront of my mind anymore, but I do still think it's beautiful. I love those neons. It's very fun. This next one is actually the first Glam Light palette that ever caught my attention and made me almost want to buy it. This is the Glam Light Ice Cream Dream palette. I thought this was stunning. I loved the variety of mattes you had. You have like every color of the rainbow, but they're all slightly tweaked. It's not just like typical rainbow colors. They're all a little bit kind of grungier or neon-y or pastel. There's like different variety in here. It's so pretty. We have so many lovely shimmers as well. I thought this was absolutely stunning, and I was this close to buying it and trying it for the first time, but I ultimately decided not to just because I do not like palettes that are this large. That is 30 shades. I don't like palettes that are that big. Literally, if this palette was broken in half from like the top 3 rows and the bottom 3 rows, and I could have bought the bottom 3 rows by itself, I probably would have in a heartbeat. The bottom 3 rows of that palette are just so breathtaking. I love all the colors in there. We have periwinkles, like weird seafoam greens, a weird like kind of limey color. It's all so cute, and I really wanted that bottom half, but I ultimately just didn't buy the palette because I didn't want 30 shades, but I did still think it was cute. Maybe I'll try Glamlight one day. Who knows? I appreciated that this one was just a rectangle square kind of situation. I don't like the circle ones. It's just not my preference. This one was pretty cute though. I also don't like food themed makeup. I'm down with dessert themed makeup, but not food themed, if that makes sense. Like I don't want a burger palette or a pizza palette. Okay, let's talk about Give Me Glow, because I did mention that I bought the new Give Me Glow palette, the Vivid Rose. I almost bought the Sweet and Sticky as well just because I was very tempted to. It's very cute. It's a nice little curated 6-pan. It's all neutrals, and it looks pretty. I'm not the biggest neutral person, but once in a while I can get down with it, and I just thought this little curated story was adorable. I thought the shimmers looked really pretty. I love Give Me Glow's formula, and I almost got that one as well. I ultimately decided not to just because it was already $45 for the larger palette, and to add another $30 on top of that, I didn't need to spend $75 on eyeshadow, so I ultimately didn't do it for that reason, but I thought about it for a hot minute. I thought it was really cute, but I'm definitely more excited for the Vivid Rose. I might already have a video up with the Vivid Rose, by the way. I don't have it in my possession as of right now when I'm filming this, but it could already be on my channel by the time this video goes up. Okay, this next one definitely almost sucked me in just because of the holidays, but this BH Cosmetics holiday palette, the Naughty palette, almost sucked me in. I just thought it was very Christmassy, very holiday. I love Christmas time. It makes me feel super cozy, and I liked the idea of this holiday themed palette, but again, I ultimately decided not to get this one because it does have 30 shades and I do not like palettes that large. Usually my absolute cutoff is like 24, but I prefer something that's like 15 to 18 or less. 9 pans are my favorite, but 30 is just too many and I didn't need it. There was a lot of shades that I probably wouldn't have really cared about, so I ultimately decided not to for that reason. Another BH Cosmetics palette, however, that is still haunting my dreams. I think it's so pretty, but it's that Blueberry Muffin palette. Angelica has me wanting this one so bad because she's created such beautiful looks with it. She's been raving about their recent formula. I want this palette so bad. I still want it. I've had it in my cart like 3 times now and I ultimately always decide not to get it. I think what always makes me take it out of my cart and decide not to, on top of wanting to save money, but also just because I have so many blue shadows in my collection. I have a lot of blue focused palettes, so I just really don't need it. On paper, I don't need it, but I want it. The shades look beautiful. The looks I've seen with it are so cute. And again, I don't like food themed makeup, but I like a dessert themed makeup, and a Blueberry Muffin palette sounds adorable. Okay, let's talk about Melt Cosmetics. It was inevitable. Basically, every single palette they've come out with this year I wanted. I did end up getting the She's and Parties palette as my birthday present to myself, but all of the other palettes I've let pass me by, but I have 3 in particular that I still think about, and they're very cute. The first is that 420 palette. This one's so pretty. It's that perfect range of grungy murky greens into that grungy murky yellowy situation. It's so cute. It's so up my alley. I just love this one. Again, I ultimately passed this one up because I believe this one came out right in the thick of the pandemic, so spending like $50-something on a palette was not in the cards. And by the time that I had the money to maybe treat myself, I'd heard so many mixed reviews about this palette, so I decided it wasn't worth the risk. But I do think the color story is beautiful. It's so cute, and I think about this one a lot. And now the ones that got away, the Beetlejuice palettes. I wanted these so bad. When they first started teasing that they were doing a collab with Beetlejuice, I lost my mind because I love Melt Cosmetics as a brand, and I love Beetlejuice with my whole heart. I feel like I've done a Beetlejuice look 5 million times at this point. I wanted these so bad. But part of what made me not want to get these is the fact that they teased them so early and then they launched so much later. So by the time they actually launched, I kind of accepted the fact that I didn't need them. Had they launched way earlier when they started teasing them, I probably would have gotten at least one of these because I was so much more hyped for it then. But the more I thought about it, the more I looked at the color stories, the more I knew I just didn't need these. I didn't need to spend the money on them. I didn't need to have them in my possession. I could admire them from afar and it'll be okay. I also didn't love the layout of these. I really like Melt's traditional like long rectangle palette format. I didn't like that these were little squares like a regular palette. I don't know. It kind of set them apart having a different layout, but I don't know. I wanted them very bad. I wanted the theming very bad mostly, but ultimately just decided I didn't need them, and the longer I was able to wait and hold off because of how far pushed out the launch was, I was able to talk myself out of it. Next, from Lunar Beauty, this is the Eternal Eclipse palette. I watched Manny's reveal video on it and I thought it was really pretty. I really like dark, murky blues. I love silvers. I love cool tones in general. Cool tones, especially when it comes to like neutrals, that's my game. So this palette was very appealing to me. I thought it was really pretty. Ultimately, I just decided I didn't need this one bad enough. I didn't have enough of a hole in my collection that this needed to fill, but I do still think this one's really cute. I really like the Moonspell palette from Lunar Beauty, so I do want to try another palette at some point. This one just wasn't the one, but I did really want this one for a hot second. I think it's really pretty, and I feel like you could make really pretty, elegant glam looks, but with that beautiful pop of blue, but in the right way, not just like one pop of blue. There's like a whole row of blue grays down here. This next one is from the Beauty Bay brand. This is the Book of Magic palette. I almost got this one as well. It was in my cart. I was ready to check out and I was ready to do it, but then I ultimately just decided, Betty Jean, calm down, you don't need this one. It has 20 shades, so it's a little bit larger, but not too large for me to like rule it out just based on shade amount, but I don't know why I talked myself out of this one. I guess it was just because, again, I have lots of blues in my collection. I have lots of purples. I didn't need this one. This isn't something that revolutionary to my collection, but I thought this one was really, really pretty. I've also heard hit or miss things about Beauty Bay's eyeshadow formula. I think that's actually what talked me out of it, is because it's so hit or miss, so I was scared to risk it. My finances are not trying to play this risky game with makeup right now. I want to kind of know that I'm gonna like something when I buy it, and I just, as pretty as this one was, I wasn't sure if I was gonna love it or not, so that's why I passed that one up, but it is a very cute color story. Next up, from Midas Cosmetics, they launched two little pastel palettes. One was more geared towards light skin tones and one was geared more towards deeper skin tones. I wanted both of them. They were cute little 6-pans. I thought the color stories of both were just adorable. It wasn't anything necessarily revolutionary. They are just like rainbow pastel palettes at the end of the day, but I thought they were so stinking cute. I was able to talk myself out of these pretty quickly just because I have so many pastel palettes at this point. I do not need to collect them all, but I thought these were adorable. Had I just had like money to spend willy-nilly, I probably would have bought these without thinking. I thought they were so cute. I don't even know which one's my favorite. I think they're both adorable, honestly. And I think we're on the last palette now. Yeah, I think so. This is the Sydney Grace and Mel Thompson collab. I wanted this badly. I really adore Mel Thompson and just her content, her in general. I think she's wonderful. I thought her color story was really cute. I liked the artwork on the packaging. I liked her story behind the colors and everything like that. I thought this was a really pretty palette. Again, I ultimately just decided not to get this one because it is a little bit higher of a price tag. Sydney Grace is a little bit more expensive with their larger palettes, and it's also a formula that I'm not super familiar with. I hear really, really good things with Sydney Grace, but for the amount of money, for coming out of the pandemic, for not being sure how I'll feel about the formula, I just wasn't able to risk it in that moment. But again, if I just had money to spend and there wasn't like any issues going on, I would have bought this one in a heartbeat. I was ready to buy it day of launch, but then I had to talk myself out of it. This one's really, really pretty though. I've been loving seeing everyone's looks with her collab, and I'm so proud of Mel, even though I wasn't able to monetarily support it. I supported emotionally. I am so excited and pumped about this palette. I think she did a great job. So yeah, that is it. That's the end of the video. Those are 15, if I counted correctly, palettes that I wanted in 2020. I just did not end up getting for one reason or another. I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the palettes I talked about? Did you pass them up as well? Did you end up getting any of them? I want to hear all of your thoughts. Which palettes did you want in the year 2020 that you ended up not getting for one reason or another? I would love to just chat about it all in the comments. It is totally fine to not buy everything. It's okay to admire things from afar. That is something that took me a long time to learn. I used to feel compelled to buy every single thing that caught my attention, and now I'm able to kind of take a step back, appreciate that it's pretty, but not necessarily own it for myself. Took a while to get there, but I'm happy that I'm here. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me an emoji that you never use, and if you liked this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please hop over to my Instagram. It's BeautyBee and follow me there. I post every single day, and don't forget to subscribe because I've been posting every single day in December. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.